Sir, what type of work do you do?
I'm a self-employed retail pet food and supplies.
Self-employed, so you have your own store?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
What's the name of that store?
J&G Discount Pet Foods?
What does J and G stand for?
Yeah.
Where is it located, the business?
10 East Clinton Street in Newton.
And how long have you been at that location?
We've been in that plaza for 33 years.
If you could, just for the jury, if you could describe your store, kind of the layout of it, what type of products you sell, that type of thing.
It's 2,300 square feet. Basically, retail pallet racking with bag food for dogs and cats, anywhere from 5 to 4 to 50 pounds. We sell bird seed, wild bird seed, small animal supplies, dogs leashes, cat leashes and dog leashes, and also toys.
Do you have any people that work either for you or with you at the store? Any employees?
Pardon?
Any employees?
I have one employee, yes.
Does your wife help you out with the store at all?
She helps me out clerically, yes.
And what are your store hours?
On the sign, it's 9 to 6:30, Monday through Friday, Saturdays 9 to 5:30, and Sundays 10 to 3.
Now you said on the sign.
Down the street.
Do you have some unofficial hours? Do you get there early, stay late?
I open up every morning. I come in at 8 o'clock in the morning just to read the paper, get my head together for the store.
Sir, I'd like to bring you back to January 8th of 2010. Did you work on that day?
Yes, I did.
Do you recall, and that was Friday?
I believe so, yes.
Do you recall what time you woke up that morning?
Normal 6:30, alarm goes off, and I snooze it a couple times.
Okay. What time did you leave for work?
Generally, I leave at like 7:45.
Do you recall what the weather was like that morning?
We had snow flurries, fresh snow, maybe 1 to 2 inches.
How about temperature? Was it
It was cold. Mhm.
Did you go directly to your store, or did you make a stop?
I stop at the Exxon on the corner just to get the paper.
The Exxon on the corner, where is that in relation to your store?
It's, as you come down 206 at the traffic light, it's right there across from the county seat restaurant.
Detective, if we could put up under Blackwell, S40 through S45.
S40 through S40, what did you say?
Oh, I'm sorry, S40 through S45. Mr. Muller, this is surveillance footage from the Exxon station. First, you see the date on the bottom there, bottom left?
Yes,
And what's the date?
January 2010, 7:45.
Okay. And do you see a vehicle pulling into the parking lot at the Exxon?
Yes, I do.
Sir, do you recognize that vehicle?
Looks like my truck.
That looks like your truck?
Yes.
If we could go to the next slide, S41. Do you see what looks like your truck depicted in that photograph?
Yes.
And where would that be? Right there?
Yes.
Okay. Do you see an individual next to that truck?
It's me getting out of it.
That's you getting out of it. Okay. And again, that's the morning of January 8th, 2010. If we could go to the next slide. Sir, what do you see in that photograph?
That's me.
Okay. Right back here?
Yes.
And what are you doing?
I just picked up the paper off the ground.
Go to S43. Actually, skip over to S44. What do you see in that photograph?
It's me standing there looking at the paper.
Okay. And if we can go to S45. What do you see depicted in that photograph?
My truck leaving.
And sir, if you could look at the bottom left of that slide, what is the time roughly?
7:49.
Now, after you left the Exxon station, where did you go?
Directly to the store.
When you arrived in the parking lot of your store, did you make any observations? Did anything seem out of the ordinary?
Well, it looks like I had a customer right away.
There was a car in the lot,
Yes.
and what did you do?
Well, I continued down the driveway and parked where I normally always park, in the lot.
We could go to S60 to S62 under Jeff Muller. So I want to show you three photographs. We can mark these as S60, S61, and S62. Did you take a look at those? Does that appear to be the vehicle that was parked in the lot that morning?
It does.
And if you can go to 61, same, appears to be the vehicle,
Same.
and S62, same vehicle.
Yes.
We can go under yellow, part 1, S25. Where was that vehicle parked, specifically in what spot?
You see the wooden guardrail there? I'm on the other side of it, directly in front of that first lot.
The wooden guardrail, that's that right there,
Yep.
Okay.
I'm in front of it, on the other side of it, let me put it that way.
back here.
Yes.
That's your vehicle right back here, right?
Probably, yes.
Maybe right there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And the vehicle is parked right here.
Yes.
Where is that in relation to your store, that particular parking space?
That would be the first parking spot there. You just come around and the doors, there's a sidewalk there, and then there's a storefront, so there.
Go to S4 under the L. So looking at this photograph, would it be this spot right here?
Yes.
Just sort of make out the white line
Yep.
right there? Now, were you surprised to see a vehicle parked in your lot that early in the morning?
Yeah, kind of get a giggle out of it, snowy day, you know, somebody's there that quick, you know, that early.
Now, I think you mentioned this earlier, but I just want to clarify it a little bit, where your vehicle was parked in relation to this other vehicle. We can go to S1 and S2 under down. Actually, technically, go to S2. Okay. Is that where your vehicle was parked the morning of January 8th?
Yes.
So this other vehicle would have been basically right here, correct?
Right there, yep.
And what did you do? Did you walk to your store?
Generally, that morning I was just thinking I'd walk around, but generally I'll just jump up on the wall there and go in between the wooden guardrail and the fence,
Okay.
and just, you know, sneak along there.
And just while we have this picture up, let me ask you a question about that jacket. You see that hanging off the back of the truck?
Yeah.
Do you recognize that jacket?
No,
Have you ever seen that before?
no,
You didn't leave it there that morning?
no.
As you approached your store, were you carrying any items with you?
Generally I have my laptop, my briefcase, and my lunch.
And is that what you had with you that morning?
Yes.
you also have your newspaper to the best of your
And my
knowledge?
newspaper and my car keys.
As you approach the store, what if anything happened? Dennis?
As I got alongside that car that was parked there, a man came out and asked me if I was Jeffrey Muller.
Okay. Do you recall where he got out of the vehicle? Was it from the front or the back, passenger side, driver's side?
When he approached me, he was at the trunk on the passenger side.
You go back to S25 on the Gallo Part 1. Mr. Muller, I'm actually going to ask you to stand up and come over to the smart board with me, if that's okay. And I'm just going to ask you to point out on the screen for me where you were when that man first approached you.
That's probably right about here,
Okay.
right in here. I just got up alongside the car.
What did, you can resume your seat, sir. Can you describe what that man looked like?
Bearded, camel jacket, silk type hat, tight fitting.
Was he taller than you?
Yes,
Was he heavier than you?
yes.
What, if anything, did he say to you?
Said, "Are you Jeffrey Muller?"
And what did you say?
I said, "Yeah."
Did he say anything after that?
He said, "You're coming with me."
And what did you say?
I said, "I don't think so."
Okay. Then what happened?
He says, "Yes, you are." "Oh, yes, you are." And at that time,
You need a minute, sir?
I'll get it.
Okay.
He grabbed me by the jacket and forced me down alongside his car. In the back passenger seat, the door was open, and it tried forcing me in there, and I resisted there, standing up. And he gave me another good push, and he sat me down on the seat.
So he actually got you partially into
He
the
got me in,
vehicle?
my feet were still outside.
Okay.
And at that time, I knew this is not right, something's wrong. And
What did you do?
I just forced myself out, and I landed on top of him.
You actually got yourself on top of him?
Right. He was laying against the curb or along the curb there, and I was on top of him. He was still holding my coat with his hands.
Now, as you guys are on the ground, what are you doing? Are you fighting with each other?
I'm trying to get loose, yes. I'm fighting, trying to get up, push myself off, but I can't.
At some point, did other individuals from that car get out of the car?
I imagine so, yes.
Okay. At some point, did you feel some sensation on either your head or neck area?
I believe I got first hit in the head, on the side of my head, then my ribs.
Was
I
that
don't
on
know if it was
the,
a punch or a kick, I don't know, and I just said, "Whoa, this is bad." Then
punched
later,
or kicked on the side of your head and the ribs, is what you said, right?
yes,
Left side
my
or
left
right?
side.
Left side?
Yep.
Did you feel anything else?
Next, I knew something hit me in the back of the neck that just stopped. And it was like, it was a shock. And it like startled me. And I just say to myself,
At some point during your entire ordeal that day, did you see what that item that you got shocked with? Or
well, it was a stun gun or a taser. I saw the hand after he hit me once or twice with it, the neck or the head. I reached up and I saw the guy's hand there with it in his hand. I was able to grab it, and I was able to pull a strap or something. I saw the strap hanging. And that was about it. I just saw the hand and the thing that he had in his hand.
we can go under Patricia Lodge, that's 66. Sir, the first person that approached you that morning, do you see him depicted in that photograph?
Yep.
That was the first individual?
First person I saw.
Now, you're on the ground on top of him?
Yep.
You indicated that you got hit with this stun gun or taser, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you were also struck on the left side of your body,
That's
the
good.
midsection and
That's
the
good.
head.
Hit, kicked, I don't know what it was, but it was good.
That man in that photograph,
Yes.
was he the person that hit you with that stun gun or zapped you with that stun gun?
No.
That man right there, was he the person that struck you on the left side of your body and in your head and face area?
No.
So that was somebody else.
Somebody else.
The person that zapped you with the stun gun or taser, was he the same person or a different person than the person that was kicking you or hitting you on the left side of your body? In other words, was it one person doing all of that to you, or was it two separate people doing that?
Two separate people.
So there were three people
Yes.
involved with that
Yes.
assault in the parking lot?
Yes.
The struggle in the parking lot that morning, how did it end?
I had to give up because I have asthma.
How long have you had asthma?
All my life.
And I know sometimes it can be pretty difficult to estimate time, but how long would you say this struggle lasted?
Ooh. 30, 45 seconds maybe.
They were eventually able to get you in the car?
I couldn't breathe anymore. I was out, done,
Okay.
finished. I mean, I just couldn't get any air. Couldn't grab any air, nothing.
How many people were involved with loading you into the car?
That's like a blur.
Okay. When you were in the vehicle, how many people were in the vehicle with you?
3.
That person right there, the one who first approached you, where in the vehicle was he?
Backseat passenger.
And is that where, you were in the back seat as well?
I was in the backseat driver's side.
So he was sitting back there with you?
Yes.
The two other individuals were in the front?
Yes.
Now, I'm not just talking about this moment right here, but during your entire ordeal that day, were you able to see the faces of the other two people involved in your assault, in your kidnapping?
Yes.
We can go to S65. I asked you to look at S65. You recognize that photograph?
Yes.
Was that person involved in the assault that morning?
Yes.
Where was he in the car?
He was the driver.
Do you see him in this courtroom?
Yes, I do.
Can you please point him out?
It's right there.
For the record, I identify Mr. Stangeland.
We can go to S67. You recognize that individual?
I do.
Was he involved in the assault that morning?
Yes, he was.
And where was he seated in the vehicle?
Front passenger.
Now, from these pictures, could you tell which of these three individuals you thought was the person that used the stun gun on you?
That guy right there.
And if we can go to S65 again? This defendant,
Yes.
so what would he have been doing?
He would have been punching, kicking me in the head and the chest and the ribs.
All right, I want to talk a little bit about the car ride, what happened in the car. You indicated this defendant was driving.
Mm-hmm.
Where did the car go?
Pulled out of the parking lot, made a right on Clinton Street. I'm just like in shock. I tried to get my air and I said, I gotta get out of here. We approached the light coming by the Exxon station and I tried to get out once. The door was child safety locked is what I believe.
So you couldn't get out. What happened?
Get out.
What happened, if anything, in response to that? When you tried to get out of the car, did anything happen?
Well, after they made the turn, guy with a beard, with a camo jacket,
That's 66. That
that man,
Okay.
pulled a gun out of his pocket, pointed it at me, says, don't try anything.
right.
Then he pulls a phone out of his pocket and he says, we have someone with your wife right now, so don't try anything. You better cooperate.
Okay. I'm going to stop you here for a moment because I want to cover a couple of things. Okay. You indicated that you were having trouble breathing, correct?
Mhm.
Okay. Before we do, could you go to your S36 on the Tom Muller? For your asthma,
Mhm.
that you told us about, do you take medication?
Yes, I do.
What medication do you take?
Do Advil in the morning and I have a respiratory.
Did you have those items with you in the backseat of the car?
No.
Where were they? And I'll ask you to take a look at S36. Is that here?
They're in the console of my car, center console.
Does that appear to be the center console of your car?
Yes,
And do you see your inhalers in that vehicle?
yes, I do.
Looks like red. Oh, if you go to S5 under there. I notice, sir, that you're wearing glasses today.
Yes,
Back in January of 2010, did you wear glasses back at that time?
yes,
When you were in the backseat of the car, did you still have those glasses on, or had you lost them?
I didn't have them.
What happened to them, to the best of your knowledge?
Lost in the scuffle.
I want to show you an S5 there. What's depicted in that photograph?
Looks like my glasses.
Did you testify that when you were in the backseat of the car, there was a gun that was pointed at you?
Yes,
We can go to S83 under scan. If you could, sir, would you mind getting up here? Okay. To the best of your memory, could you point out to the jury the gun that you saw pointed at you in the backseat of that car?
this one right here.
That one?
Yep.
Sir, do you see what's depicted in the top left portion of that slide?
Yes,
Is that the stun gun that you saw that morning? What does it
Yes.
appear to be? That's right. Could you grab the stun gun too? So I'm going to show you, we've marked this as S74. Does this appear to be the gun?
yes it is.
Does this, sir, appear to be the taser or the stun gun that was used on you?
Yes,
What's the number of that example?
The handgun was S74 and the stun gun was S82. Okay, so after that occurred, after A gun was pointed at you. Individual said that there was somebody with your wife. Yes, and if you didn't cooperate, she would be harmed. What happened after that?
We continued up towards the square. They started questioning me where I hide my money. And they know you have money.
And that was right around the square, right here?
Yeah, right from there. Wanted to know where I kept my money. They know I was down. They said, you've got big boats. You have boats in Fort Lauderdale. You've been down in Fort Lauderdale. I said, no. So, nothing.
Did they ask you about airplanes, do you remember?
They said you had plane. I believe they said sometime along the trip they said planes, yes.
Did they ask you anything about an offshore bank account, do you recall?
During the trip, yes, they did. They said, we know you have bank accounts, offshore. I don't know if it was offshore bank accounts, but where you hide your money in offshore bank accounts, maybe. Yes.
And what are you saying to them?
I said, you got the wrong guy. And they asked me, one of them asked me, well, what's your middle name?
What is your middle name?
I said, Jeffrey Melvin Muller.
All right, so you told them your middle name was Melvin.
Yes. They said, you're lying.
Okay.
I said, I'm not lying.
And your identification, where was that? Did you have that with you?
That's my car.
Who was asking you these questions, do you remember?
Camel guy?
Camel guy? The guy who first approached you in the
Yes.
parking lot?
Mhm.
Now, where did you go? After the vehicle went through the square,
Went through the square, we headed out to 94 towards Blairstown.
at some point in time, were you bound or restrained?
Probably somewhere around the hospital. The skinny dude in the front seat came over to see, bound my hands with a zip tie. Took my legs, and then bound me together down like this.
Forcing your head down by your feet?
Yep.
Do you recall what color the... Sorry, do you need a minute?
Right.
Do you recall what color the zip ties were?
Black. I had no black around my legs going down. I think it was a white one arm around this.
Sir, I'll show you a few photographs. We marked these S108, S109, and S110. Let's go take a look at those. Jeff Muller.
Couple of those.
Sure. That's one way. Okay, sir. I'm just going to ask you to take a look up on the screen at S108. I know that's dark. It's not the best quality there, but if you go to S109 and 110, and ask you to look at the package right here. Were those consistent with the type of zip ties that were used to tie you up?
Yes.
After your wife was threatened, after your wife was threatened, in the back of the car, after she was threatened,
Yes.
what was going through your mind?
It's not right. Something's wrong.
Okay. Were you scared, sir? Were you scared for your safety?
My wife's.
Most of your lives? You had testified that you were proceeding down Route 94. Where did the vehicle go after that?
That at some time they put a sock hat over my head so I couldn't, they released the zip tie going down to my feet to hold me down. And they put a black hat over my head so I couldn't see where I was going. But I assume I was going out to Route 80 and got on Route 80.
At some point, did the vehicle get on Route 80?
Yes, from what I could tell, yes. And sense, yes.
As you approached the Delaware Toll Plaza on Route 80, what if anything happened?
Camel guy pushed my head down behind the seat. I felt an object in my back of my head here, which I know was a gun. I said, don't try anything.
When you say camel guy, we're talking about the individual who first approached you, correct?
Yes,
Was it this gun? Right here?
had to be.
Okay. Did you actually feel the metal of this gun pressed against your head?
Yes, I did.
At any point, did this defendant right here, did he tell you where they were taking you?
Yes,
Where did he tell you?
go back.
Did you notice as you were driving if any of these three individuals were either texting or sending emails, communicating electronically?
At first, they were they were doing hand signals to each other, not talking to each other at all.
Okay.
Then they were doing a lot of texting on their cell phones. Back and forth, each of them looking at whatever message was there. And just shaking their head, not.
You indicated earlier that when you were walking into your store that morning, you were carrying with you several items, including a laptop computer and a briefcase.
Yes,
Did they take those items as well?
yes, he did.
They were in the car?
Yes.
Jeff on S11.
So I want to show you, you can pre-mark this as S111 and S112. Start with S111. What is depicted in that photograph?
My laptop.
And if we go to S112,
My briefcase.
so I'm going to show you what we've marked as S113. Does that appear to be the contents of your briefcase?
Yeah, that would be it.
Show S113. And in fact, there's a letter, an envelope. Does that in fact have your name on it? It's hard to read.
Yes.
Okay. Your computer in S111. Did anybody access that computer while you were driving?
Skinny dude.
Skinny dude? And, okay. And that would be the same individual that you testified zapped you with the taser?
Yes.
Did you have any financial program or software on your computer?
The only thing we had on there is QuickBooks, and then there was like an online banking thing that my wife watched our checking account on, but doesn't do any transactions. It just the balance and what checks were cashed.
Did anyone access your QuickBooks account?
Skinny dude.
And did he need a password to do that?
Yes, he did.
Did you provide that to him?
Yes, I did.
Did you ask any of these people, any of these three people, what your fate was? What was going to happen to you?
Yes.
What did they tell you?
Judge, the question was asking any of the people, and then the question just asked was, what did they tell you?
I can
Not sure
hear.
who.
Okay. I can
Perhaps
rephrase.
if we rephrase, yes.
That was going to be my follow-up question, Judge, was who said it, but you testified that you asked
Yes.
what your fate was going to be. Did you direct that question to all, basically anybody in the car? Or were you talking to anybody in particular?
I was probably looking at the camo guy.
He was in the back seat with you?
Yeah.
And do you recall, did you get a response to that question? Without saying what it was, just yes or no, did you get a response?
Yes.
Do you recall who provided that response?
The camo guy.
And what did he say to you?
He said, we're just taking you, we'll let the authorities know. The authorities will make that decision, or the higher-ups they were referred to. And they had computers, they will figure it out.
So, from that, did you learn that there were other people involved
Yes.
with this incident?
Yes.
That were not in the car, obviously.
Yes.
And that's how Camel Guy referred to them as higher-ups or
Higher-ups
guys in
or the
authority.
authorities.
To the best of your knowledge, as you can remember, how long were you on Route 80 West?
My sense is, I felt, since he told me that we were going to Quebec, that we got off on 380 headed north towards Scranton. That's what I sensed.
Okay.
I don't know.
At any point during the trip, were you able to see any signs?
Yes.
What was the first sign that you recall seeing? The very first one.
Well, I remember seeing a gas station sign.
Okay. How about any signs to give you a sense of either where you were or where you were headed? Any signs for towns or cities?
Youngstown.
Youngstown? Okay. During the trip, did you make any stops for gas?
Yes.
In total, during the whole trip, how many stops would you say that you made for gas?
3 to 4.
Outside of stopping for gas, did you make any other stops?
No.
At some point in time, did you request to use the bathroom?
Yes.
What happened when you made that request?
They wouldn't let me. They'd say you have to wait.
At any time, and you already testified to what happened at the toll plaza.
Yes.
With Mr. Snoring pointing the gun at you. Other than that, at any other time, was your life threatened by any of the individuals in the car?
Yes.
Okay. Tell the jury about that.
During the trip there, I kept on mumbling or blabbering, where are we going? Let me go, you have the wrong guy. I'd be going on. And at one point, skinny dude turns around and said, if you don't shut up, that guy's gonna kill you.
And you pointed at Doug Stangeland?
He looked at Stangeland, and Strangland's driving, and he says, he's doing this.
Stangeland was nodding his head in agreement that he would in fact kill you.
Yes.
Did you take that threat seriously?
Yes.
At any time during the drive, were you struck or hit
Yes.
by anyone in the car?
Yes.
Tell the jury about that.
At one of the gas stops, camel guy got in the front seat, skinny dude got in the back. And again, I was going on, got the wrong guy, something to that effect, and let me go. And he gave me a karate chop across the neck while I was sitting there.
Okay. You testified earlier that they would not let you go to the bathroom.
They would
At
pull
least
over.
initially.
They wouldn't pull over. They did eventually let me go to the bathroom at one of the gas stops.
Okay. Did they give you anything to drink?
They got me a water.
And who did that?
Camel guy.
Again, Camo Guy is the first person
Yes.
that approached you in the parking lot. You said he got you a water.
Mhm.
Did he give you the bottle
No, he held it and put it up to my mouth.
and just poured it in?
Yes, I drank out of it.
Okay. How about food? Did you eat anything during this trip?
Nothing.
I want to bring your attention up to the last gas stop. I think you mentioned that there were 3 or 4 stops for gas, correct? I want to direct you to the very last one.
Okay.
After you finished with that stop, did they switch drivers?
Yes.
3 individuals. Had this defendant been driving the entire time up until that point?
Yes.
Who took over driving responsibilities?
Skinny dude.
So Skinny Dude is now in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Where did this defendant go?
Passenger side.
And Monty sworn, but the camel guy was still in the
Camel
back.
guy was in the back.
At some point, after Skinny Dude took over driving responsibilities, did something happen to the car?
Shut off.
Okay. Were you on, where were you at that point? Were you on the highway?
I was on a highway.
So the car shut off. What, if anything, happened?
The big guy was telling Skinny dude, pull over, pull over, pull over.
When you
I
say
was
big
probably-
guy,
Pardon?
just so I got careful, when you say big guy, who are you referring to? Mr. Stang?
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, keep going.
Pull over, get it over to the side of the road. They just pulled over to the side of the road, the car was dead. They tried, cranking it, it just cranked.
Okay. What were you thinking at this point?
I said, well, it's my chance, police will stop by because he's, pulled over, on the side of the road in the middle of the night. I said, here, I got a chance.
You said middle of the night, was it dark out at this point?
Oh, yes, yes.
What was the last sign that you recall seeing?
St. Louis.
You indicated back in New Jersey, it was cold on the
Cold,
morning of
very
the
cold.
8th.
In Jersey, it was cold,
How about where you were on the highway?
very cold.
Colder? Cold. Okay. So what happened? You're stuck on the side of the road.
We sat on the side of the road. I could tell these guys were disarrayed. I mean, it was the first time I heard them talking to each other.
Did anybody make a phone call?
A pretty
Mr.
big
Stang?
dude
Yeah.
made a call to somebody
Okay.
and let them know that the car shut down, broke down on the side of the road. I remember him saying the car was running fine, all trip, the car was running fine. Guy on another line, I could hear him talking every 4 or 5 words. The guy would be coughing and hacking. They were going back and forth, but the guy on the other side, he was coughing a lot. He only could say a few words at a time, and I just said to myself, whoa, this guy's.
I'm sorry, I just didn't catch the end of what you said there.
Just said this guy's not good.
Okay. Did he sound sick or?
Well, yeah. Didn't sound healthy.
So you're stuck on the side of the road. This individual calls somebody
Mhm.
to let them know of the
Yes.
situation.
Yep.
At some point, What happened? Was the vehicle moved? Were you able to get out of there? What happened?
At some point, somebody came around in front, pulled up in front of him, and he rolled down the window, and he said, the guy said, can I help you? And they believe they got water in the gas, and the gas line froze. And the guy offered, say, yeah, I can give you a tow, I got change, I'll give you a tow to the next exit.
This person who had come up, was this a law enforcement official? Or
No.
just a good Samaritan?
Yes,
Sort of. Makes sense.
yes.
All right. Where did you take you? Where were you towed to?
Well, we got off the next exit, and I know we were pulling up in some kind of parking area. You really couldn't see anything because all the windows are froze up, at least on the sides. Everything was frozen up on inside. You couldn't really see out. You could see out the front window yet.
All right, but to the best of your knowledge at that time, to the extent you could see, what type of place were you in?
I'm guessing it's a convenience store, gas station, something to that effect. I couldn't see gas pumps.
Okay.
I could hear cars coming and going in the dark, but no.
While you were at this location, these three individuals who had taken you, what were they doing?
Camel guy got out of the car and got some, what they call heat, which is dry gas, and then proceeded to put it in a gas tank. Probably put a couple cans in there.
Okay.
They waited a little while, let it, I guess, try to get through the system.
So basically trying to get the car started.
They tried a few times to get it going, and it still wouldn't go. The next thing they did is went in and got ether.
You recall who went in to get that?
No. I don't know if it was Camel Guy or Skinny Dude.
Okay. At various times while you were at this location, you indicated Camel Guy went into the store, possibly Skinny Dude. Did all three go into the store at one point or another?
No.
Okay. Who never went into the store? You don't recall him ever going into the store?
He did go in once, yes.
Oh, he did go in, okay.
But somebody else was in the car.
Okay. Somebody was always left with you.
Yes.
Is it light or dark out while you're at Rixie's, while you're at this one?
It was dark, and then after they got the ether, Skinny Dude was spraying the carburetor, and they were trying to get the car started.
Did they have any luck getting this car started?
It would just run on the ether, that was it.
Were you stuck though in that lot?
Yes.
At some point was another call made to another individual.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Basically that call, they said, if I remember, they said, we can't get the car coming, you better come get us. That's what I got out of the call.
So there was a request for help.
Yes.
Did you believe someone was coming to come get
Yes.
you and them?
Yes.
Did you ever learn how far away that person was?
I sensed it was about an hour out from words that were spoken.
At some point in time, while you were at this location that morning, were you left alone with this individual in the car?
Yes.
Where did the other two individuals go? Skinny Dude and Camel Guy, where did they go?
They were in the store staying warm.
While you were in the car with him, where was he seated?
Driver's seat,
And where were you?
back seat behind me.
At this point, you're now alone with this
Yes.
defendant. What, if anything, were you thinking?
Gotta get out of here.
And what did you do?
I had a blanket over me. The first thing I did, I was able to get my hands out of the zip ties. Yeah. And then I slowly worked the zip tie around my calves, down around my ankles. And I could get it, I couldn't get it quite, I couldn't get it quite off my feet. But I had it down loose enough where if I got a shoe off, I could get it off.
At some point, were you able to get these restraints completely off?
Yes.
And what did you do?
Just thinking what next to do, what I should do. I noted, cars were coming and going. I said, and I noticed he was nodding off every once in a while. And I just said, I'm gonna, I asked him if I could take my shoe off because I had an itch my foot, and that's when I got the strap off my foot.
Okay.
The zip tie off my foot.
By the way,
I
is
just
it-
sat
is it-
there.
Is it light or dark out at this point?
Might have been getting light. Daylight was breaking.
This place that you were at, was it busy? Were there other people?
There's
there?
cars coming and going. I could sense that. I could hear cars slam, doors opening and closing.
You testified earlier that you believe someone was on the way
Yes.
to come get you. If you were unable to escape, what did you think was going to happen?
At one point, Camo guy came back in the front seat. Big guy here went into the seat shop probably to use the bathroom. Camo guy, when he did get in the car, he said he was about 20 minutes out, he told him.
The help, the person that was coming was 20 minutes out?
Yeah, it was 20 minutes out.
Okay. He told that to this defendant,
Yes,
and you overheard.
yes,
So help was 20 minutes away.
I believe so. That's when he left the car. And Camo guy sitting in the front seat saying bagged and tagged. Repeating it, bagged and tagged.
Who's he saying that to?
He's not looking at me, he's just looking out, bagged and tagged.
Okay. So what did you think was going to happen to you?
I knew it's over.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that, sorry.
Like, what it was gonna be
I
over.
knew it was over, thank you.
Were you able to get out of that car?
I sat there, he came back in, Camel guy left, and I sat there, I don't know how long, but he was nodding off, like I said before. And I just, in my mind, my plan was to take somebody's car and bolt it.
Were you able to get out of the car?
I threw the white blanket over the top of his head and bolted out the passenger door, back door.
The back passenger door is the door you were able to escape from?
Yes.
And when you got out of that car, what did you do?
Went into the first car I saw, opened the passenger side door, looked in, and there was no keys.
Okay. Then what happened?
Some guy came around the side of the car and started hitting me with a squeegee. He was hitting me. Should I continue?
Let me ask you this. After this individual was hitting you with the squeegee, and by the way, this individual wasn't one of these
No,
3 kidnappers.
no.
Do you know why he was hitting you with the squeegee?
Because I wanted to get in his car.
Okay. And at this point, what are you doing? Are you yelling? Or
I'm yelling, screaming, help me, call 911, I've been kidnapped. I'm trying to make a scene. Yes.
Why are you trying to make a scene?
So somebody called police.
After that individual was hitting you, at any point in time, did you see any of the 3 people who had abducted you?
Well, he stopped. I turned around and I see 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, in front of me.
Who was the first person you encountered of the 3?
I'm just saying, big guy.
All right. What happened when you encountered the big guy?
And I went after him and put my shoulder into him and pulled his leg up, and I believe he went down.
Okay. Do you recall if he said anything after you knocked him down?
What I recall, he says, I'm out of here, I'm done. That's what, something to that effect is what I gathered.
Okay. What happened after that?
Next thing I know, I'm trying to run, and the other 2 guys are on me.
Okay.
I'm struggling to get away. They're dragging me back to the car. We're fighting on the ground. They're both, 2 of them got me, another guy's got me, trying to get me up. They're trying to lift me up, put me back in the car.
Were all three individuals involved with getting you back in the car?
I believe 2 were on my shoulders, backside, somebody was on my legs because I was looking up and they were holding me out,
Okay.
moving me to the car.
So you had an individual on each side of you, and then somebody on your feet.
Right, yes.
So would that be all three? Were involved? Okay. Did they get you back in the car?
First attempt, I was able to push off when I was coming up the door. I got my feet to the side and I was able to kick myself back one more time, hoping that I could just break loose, but that didn't happen.
Okay.
I was immediately picked up and then put in the car on all fours, face first, and on my hands and knees.
What did these three individuals do at that point?
Well, I was out of breath. I gave up because I still couldn't breathe doing all the struggling. I just looked up and nobody got in the car. I took 2 breaths. Gone.
Ran out of the car again?
Yep, ran into the store, screaming.
How long would you say you were in that car?
Seconds.
Detective, go to Jeff Muller, S64. Sorry. On top.
And if we go outside. Sir, I'm going to ask you to watch this video, and if you could please tell the jury what you're seeing.
I believe that was me opening the door, looking in the car for the keys.
Okay.
That time that guy was probably whacking me. You can't see it when first starting, but I
Pause.
believe.
I'm sorry. Okay. Just back up just a little bit. A little bit more. Now, can you tell, and I know that the quality of this tape is not the best, but to the best of your recollection, can you tell where you are in this video? In this video over here, perhaps?
Possibly, yes.
Okay. Would this be big guy?
Yes.
If you could just let it play. Can you stop it? Thank you. So now, as you testified before, 2 individuals came over and were initially able to get you into the vehicle.
Dragging me back, yes.
Continue with that. And if you could hit stop. Thank you. Big guy. Where do you see him going at this point?
Back towards the car.
Okay. You can continue to play. And although this is off camera now, right around now is about when they're getting you back in the car.
Yeah, we're on the, I know that I was down on the ground fighting with them, and that's when they were able to lift me, and the first time they put me in the car.
Can we go to the tape inside the store? I'm going to ask you to watch another video. Is that you coming in to the store?
Yes.
Is it, what is this? The second time you were able to break away?
Yes.
What are you saying at this point?
Help me, I've been kidnapped, call the police, call the cops, they're coming to get me. They got guns, kept on telling them they had guns and they were gonna come and get me. Call the cops, and it's going buckwheat.
Okay. You see the cashier there, she's on the phone. Did they call 911 for you?
They said they did, yes.
Okay. There's an individual to your right who has his hand on your right arm. Can you see that?
Yes.
Did you talk with that man?
He's probably trying to comfort me. When I was telling him, you don't understand, they have guns, they're coming to get me. And I asked him if he had a gun. He didn't answer, he said, but I am an officer. That's about what I remember of that.
Sir, we'll just let this play through, and I just want you to watch it. Sir, you see right next to your right arm there appears to be a hat.
Yes,
Was that the sock hat that they had put over your head?
I believe so. I'm probably also telling them they got my wife, called in Jersey. There's something with my wife.
Now, it appears from the tape that you're having some difficulty standing there. Do you recall that? Do you recall having difficulty standing?
I'm spent, don't,
No energy left. You recall at some point that you wound up on the ground?
once they said, I think the police were here, once I heard that the police were here, I just gave out. Seemed like forever.
Indicated at some point the police showed up. At some point did medical personnel also show up?
Yes,
When the police first showed up, what did you tell them?
told them my name, my birth date, my social security number. Said I've been kidnapped from New Jersey. Told them if they had my wife, probably, don't call my wife, something like that was going on.
At some point, did medical personnel arrive there as well?
Yes,
And I see you're falling to the ground there. Do you have the strength to stand at this point?
I'm done. Cool.
Okay, please. Do you recall after the medical personnel arrived, do you remember where you were taken?
To a hospital, I guess. I don't know where.
Do you remember how long the ride was? Were you taken in an ambulance?
Ambulance.
Do you remember what treatment you received at the hospital?
They put oxygen on with a lung treatment, I believe. They told them I needed a steroid.
Still having difficulty breathing?
Oh, yeah.
At some point at the hospital, were you able to call your wife, Gail?
They called me.
They called?
They called me, yes.
Okay.
They made,
You
they
were
were in touch with New Jersey.
You were able to talk with her though?
Yes,
At the
well,
hospital? What was that like?
lost it.
You lost it?
Yeah, well, we're losing it now. I talked to my daughter also. She was the first one I think I talked to.
Keep going, Ron. Yes, please. Sir, I'd like to show you some pictures. This is what we've marked as S87. Is that you? Is that you in the hospital that day? Just looking at this one photograph, it appears that you have a black eye on the left side of your face on your eye, right? Where did you get that injury?
That was probably one of the first things I took back from New Jersey.
So that would have been from this man right here?
Yes.
There's also some abrasions and cuts to your face. Do you recall when you received those injuries?
Possibly from the back in my parking lot. Not have could have been out at the store where they went from.
How long were you at the hospital?
I guess a couple hours.
After leaving the hospital, where did you go?
They took me to a police station.
At this point in time, were you still in fear? Were you still scared?
I believe people were still coming, someone was coming to get me. There's no, in my mind, there's no doubt somebody's coming to get me. And I told them I want, got cops, you gotta have cops.
You wanted protection.
I want protection.
And where did you wind up spending that night?
County jail.
Did you at least feel safe there?
What's that?
Did you at least feel safe there?
Yeah, I guess. That's not good.
Let's go to the next day. At some point, did you go to the airport?
Yes.
Do you recall which airport it was?
I think it's St. Louis. Okay. I know we went towards St. Louis, I know what the airport name is.
At the airport, who took you to the airport?
2 policemen,
From Lake Ozark?
I believe so. I still didn't know where I was.
At the airport, did you meet with anyone?
Yeah.
Who did you meet with?
About a dozen police officers.
And did you tell them what happened to you?
Yes.
After that meeting, did you fly back to New Jersey?
Yes.
Where did you fly? Which airport did you fly to?
Newark Airport.
And where did you go after that?
They took me to the state police right there at Newark.
In Newark? Do you remember why you were taken there?
I guess they wanted this, I don't know what you call it, CSI, take pictures,
Okay.
fingerprints, DNA.
After you were processed in Newark, were you brought home?
Yes.
Who was back home?
Excuse me?
Who was at your house?
Well, my wife, my daughter, my son, my older sister, her husband, her 2 children, Jesse and Chris,
Jesse and Chris.
my mother, Chris's girlfriend,
Everybody
Greg
was
and
there.
Stacy, and my friends from Camp Dutres.
Everybody was there to welcome you back. What was that reunification like?
It's good, but not good.
Let's take you to the next step. Did you go respond to the Newton Police Department?
Excuse me?
Did you respond to the Newton Police Department?
The next day,
Yep. And what was the purpose of that?
to take my statement.
So I want to show you, we've marked this as S56 and S57. S56 is a transcript. I just ask you to read a few pages of that.
Should I skim it or really read it?
Skim it's fine. My only question to you is, does that appear to be a transcript of the statement that you gave on January 11th?
Yes.
And S57 is just a disc. You can just read what that disc is marked.
Jeff Muller interview.
Sir, I only have a couple of more areas to go over with you. We're almost done. I want to bring you back to a month or two before the kidnapping. Before this event that took place on January 8th and 9th, 2010. So I want to bring you back to November and December 2009.
Did you see this man
Yes, I did.
in your store?
Yes, I did.
And again, to the best of your knowledge, when was that roughly?
November, end of November, beginning of December, right in that time frame,
Was he with anyone?
with that camel guy.
Camel guy? The first person who approached you in the parking lot. So they had been in your store before, about a month or two before.
Yes.
Do you recall what they were wearing at that time, or do you recall what this defendant was wearing at that time?
He had a Harley hat on with flames.
Okay.
He had a denim jacket with a big motorcycle insignia or biker insignia on the back.
This ordeal that you went through back in January 2010, how has this impacted you, sir?
Tremendously. My family, everybody in my family.
Do you still feel fearful at times?
I'm always watching,
Always.
always watching.
Have you had any help or professional assistance to get you through this?
Yes, I have.
Judge, can I have a moment? We just cover one more area with you. You mentioned earlier some of the conversation that took place while you were riding with these individuals. Did they indicate whether they had any knowledge of you, your family, your residence, any details about you?
Yes.
You remember what they said?
First thing I remember telling me, that's a nice boxer you had.
A nice boxer? Boxer?
Boxer, daughter. Yes.
And did a family member beat up
I
for the
said,
boxer?
that's not my boxer, that's my daughter's boxer. Just said, yes, it's a nice boxer you had.
How about with regard to your property?
During the way, they kept on asking me where the money was, where I should get my money. We know you hide it in the shed behind your house.
Is there in fact a shed?
Yes, there is.
And is that either parallel or behind your house?
I have to say parallel. Parallel.
Would that be visible from the road?
No.
Describe your property if you could.
I live in the woods, 8 acres. It's a flag lot. Driveway's about 1,300 feet long uphill. You can't see the roadway. You can't see anybody going by, and nobody sees me.
The fact that they knew about this shed that was on your property, what did that say to you?
That they were at my house.
Judge, that's all.
We will take a recess, ladies and gentlemen, a recess, and then we'll resume. Thank you.